Hi, I'm Amy Baldwin, and I'm here with Dr. Laurie Hazard again. We are talking about an essential skill for new students coming into college. Wouldn't you say, Laurie, that it's probably one of the things that can really be a separator and help students really feel comfortable and achieve what they want to achieve? And so tell us what that is. What is that skill?
So I think the primary skill that students need to think about, and there are so many, but one really important one is the ability to do sustained focused reading. And, when we think about our generation, we're what I would call digital immigrants, right? We read with those hard copy books, and we didn't have those hyperlinks that would interrupt us with our reading. And so these digital natives, now that they're used to reading on their phones, they don't do the same kind of sustained focus reading that we might have done. But it's really important to build that skill because many colleges and universities, with their course delivery methods, they're still delivering a lot of their course content through books. And so students really do need to learn how to do that sustained focus reading. And if they don't have that habit, it's essential over the summer to kind of prepare themselves and build that habit. So when they arrive to university in the fall, they're ready to build their reading endurance.
So tell us what they need to be doing this summer, because we know that they may have a common book experience. If you're not familiar with that, it's where the whole freshman class reads the same book. But, so that might be happening over the summer, or they need to do that early when they get there. But we do know all those classes, those first year classes, are often reading intensive. So what is it that they need to be doing right now that can get them in shape for August and September?
I like the way that you said in shape, because I like the analogy that reading is like running. And if you think of the Boston Marathon, I don't know, I think it's 26.2 miles. And that's for an expert runner. So an expert reader could probably do 2 hours of sustained focus reading, no problem. But I think students need to know that it's okay if they're not expert readers, that they can build up their endurance. And so they should practice building their endurance over the summer. So one way to kind of start that is to get a sense of what their benchmark of reading endurance is. And we've all had that experience as readers and studying, where we're reading and we seem to be comprehending everything that we're reading, but then all of a sudden our mind starts to wander and we've read through a number of pages, but we're not retaining anything. So I tell students to kind of get their reading endurance benchmark is to sit down. And I think it's important initially to start this practice with something that they're interested in reading. So over the summer, just grab some books of topics that they'd be interested in to get their benchmark, sit down, open that book, start reading, maybe put a timer on and see how many minutes they can read with that sustained focus reading before their mind starts to wander, and get that benchmark. So maybe they can read for 10 minutes and that's what their reading endurance is. So the first week, read for 10 minutes and do that practice. And then the following week, up it to 15 minutes. And then the following week, up it to 20, and see if they can get themselves to 30 minutes of sustained focused reading before they start college or university. If they can get themselves up to an hour, terrific. But I think, with all of the digital interruptions and things like that, to practice reading in that sustained focus kind of way and putting away their electronics is really important, because they're going to need that when they get to college in the fall.
So is it okay for them to just really nail that 30 minutes or an hour? I mean, there's no sense in being able to read for 5 hours straight, right?
No, absolutely
they can
not.
break that up.
Break that up.
Probably a better deal to take a break?
Yeah, I think if we can build up to 30 minutes and take a break, that's great. If they can only get to 15 minutes, that's fine too. Another way to think about it is using the weight lift analogy, right? How do we lift weights? We lift weights in sets and reps. So if you think of, and this will vary based on major, if you think of what is the reading workload for a full-time course load in college, and it can vary, but it could be 300-400 pages a week. So I often say to students, if you look at all of your classes and you kind of add up the number of pages and you see you have 400 pages, how about this? Take the weekend off of reading. Doesn't that sound good? You can take the weekend off. But if you've got 400 pages to do over 5 days, That's about 80 pages a day. So they could do 4 sets of 20 in the morning, 20 in the evening, 20 at supper time, right? So do 20 pages in the morning, 20 at lunchtime, 20 in the afternoon, and 20 at night. That seems more manageable, 80 pages a week over the 5 days, and they can take the weekends off from reading.
Yeah.
But doing it in sets and reps, I think, is a super helpful way to think about it because it just feels more manageable.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Hopefully they'll get into shape with some of those reading exercises that you suggested. Thank you so much, Laurie.